Can we cook on the new moon or the new moons? And the answer is no. The new moon or new moons and Sabbaths are the same. The new moon is nothing but a Sabbath or a Sabbath of rest. So you have the new moon, then you have after that day of the new moon, which comes in on evening to evening, and then you have 6 days where you can work, and on the seventh is a Sabbath of rest. So you have a Sabbath one week, a Sabbath the next week, a Sabbath the next week. So it works out to 4 Sabbath, and then you have the new moon, which is around that same time. So if you go to the, this was a question that was asking me, can we cook on the new moons? And I said no. And that goes for the new moon and the Sabbath. So what I did was I put in the word new moon, or the term, or the words new moon, new and new moons, and also Sabbaths. Now we should all know what the Sabbath is. Matter of fact, let me just go right to the precepts, because the precepts in the scriptures pretty much explain what the new moons and the Sabbaths are. I don't have to do a lot of talking on it. Anyway, this is 1 Chronicles 23 verse 31, and to offer all burnt sacrifices unto the Lord Yahweh in the Sabbath. And we know what the Sabbath is. You don't cook on the Sabbath, you don't work on the Sabbath. So in the kingdom of heaven, Esau or any of the other nations will not, they will have a day of rest, including Esau. Nobody's going to be working on that day. So Esau and the other nations, they will look forward to the Sabbath days, the high holy days, and the new moons, because they'll be able to rest. And the scriptures say that they're going to partake in the high holy days as well. It tells you that in Zechariah 14. It speaks about the tabernacles, Feast of Tabernacles, where all the nations will have to follow that. So they're going to have to follow the Sabbath, the new moons, the various feast days, the high holy days. So let me read that again. 1 Chronicles 23 verse 31. And to offer all burnt sacrifices unto Yahweh in the Sabbaths, in the new moons, and on the set feast. And I just said that. Passover is a set feast. When does the Passover come in? It comes in on the second Sabbath. So your starting point is a new moon, which is known as Abib, which is the beginning of the year, which comes in, well, actually we're in the time of the Abib coming in, which in 14 days from there at evening, going into the 15th day, is the Sabbath, is the Passover. So it says, I'm gonna read it again. 1 Chronicles 23 verse 31, and to offer all burnt offering or sacrifices unto. Now, will there be sacrifice in the kingdom? Yes, there'll be sacrifices in the form of offerings, like the Passover is a sacrifice. You sacrifice that lamb. But now, will that be sin or sacrifice for sin? No, because Israel will not commit sin. So it says, and to offer all burnt sacrifices unto Yahweh in the Sabbaths, in the new moons, and on the set feast, by number, according to the order commanded unto them continually before Yahweh. This is 2 Chronicles 2, and Chronicles is a Greek word meaning time, history, or record. It says 2 Chronicles 2 verse 4. Behold, I build an house to the name of Yahweh, my power, to dedicate it to him and to burn before him sweet incense, and for the continual showbread, which that goes into a whole different topic, because the Levitical priests ate the showbread. Now David had ate the showbread, and the Most High didn't punish him for that because he was hungry. It says, and for the burnt offerings morning and evening, on the Sabbaths and on the new moons and on the solemn feast, Passover, the other high holy days of Yahweh our power. This is an ordinance forever to Yasha'Allah. Here it is again in 2 Chronicles 8 verse 13. Even after a certain rate every day, offering according to the commandments of Moses on the Sabbath and on the new moons. So the new moon or the new moons are a solemn day, a Sabbath. Besides your regular Sabbath, if you will, the new moon is a monthly Sabbath. So you can't buy or sell, you can't work on the Sabbath. Else I'll be working right now. It says, so I couldn't work yesterday, neither can I work tonight, neither can I work tomorrow, because usually before camp, I would go out and work a couple of hours. So Sunday will be the next, so-called Sunday is the next day that I would actually work. And then the next Sabbath would be Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. And on those days, I don't cook. I might go to a store and maybe get something from a store earlier that day before the sun go down or whatever. Or I might have something in the refrigerator that's cold, just eat it cold. Or even you can make a sandwich. You can, put a sandwich together, drink something from out of the refrigerator or water or whatever, and that's it. It says, and this is the best day. This is the Sabbath. Actually, this is the new moon. We're in the new moon. This is the best time to really meditate on the scriptures and to do your videos. This is a day, and you know what? You can't say, well, I got to work my job. You know what? There's app-based jobs out there where you can make better money doing an app-based job than a regular job. Well, what about my Medicaid and my Blue Cross and my Blue Shield and my pension fund? Well, we're going by faith. Okay, you work and you trust in the Most High. So let me read that again. 2 Chronicles 8 verse 13. Even after a certain rate every day, offering according to the commandment of Moses on the Sabbath and on the new moons and on the solemn feasts 3 times in the year, even in the feast of unleavened bread, which is the Passover, and in the feast of weeks, which is the ingathering, and in the feast of tabernacles. So it says 3 times in a year. Now that's in Deuteronomy 16:16. It says the same thing. Three times in a year you're supposed to gather together. Now in the kingdom we'll be able to do that. So wherever Israel is, you got various Israelite camps, and they have their Passovers on different times, either March or April. And there's nothing wrong with that, because the whole calendar system is all messed up anyway. So you're going to have some camps that's going to have it sometime in April. You're going to have other camps that's going to have it sometime in March. But when the kingdom is established, all Israel will celebrate the Passover and the new high holy day that's going to commemorate the destruction of Babylon. So you got to think on Babylon. That's why I'm always, testing brothers on the prophecies, the book of Revelation, because we're in that time. Revelation, we're right in the time of Revelation 13. We're coming to the time of Revelation 18. So the book of Revelation is being fulfilled in our time. We're experiencing it now. Here's another one. 2 Chronicles 31 verse 3. He appointed also the king's portion of his substance for the burnt offerings, to wit, for the morning and evening burnt offerings, because they had morning offerings and evening offerings. And they had, the temple had an eternal light. That's, if you go into the story of the Maccabees, it goes into that. And the burnt offerings for the Sabbaths and for the new moons. So when you prepared your food, for example, when you prepared for the Passover lamb, that was the 10th day of the month. You would pick out a lamb from the field, which we're going to do that in the kingdom, and the lamb would have to be 1 year old, a male without blemish. And then you would take it to the side, and you're getting ready for those couple of days for the Passover. And before the sun went down, you prepared the lamb for the Passover. You had to slaughter the lamb within that time period, and you had to cook the lamb before the sun went down. And when the sun went down, which was the beginning of the unleavened bread, the 14th day at evening is known as the unleavened bread, which is the beginning of the Passover. It just happens to be called the unleavened bread. Also, it is called the Passover, the same high holy day, which went for a week. So it says, and for the new moons and for the set feasts, as it is written in the law of Yahweh. And you notice it keeps saying the same thing, keeps repeating itself, and there's a reason behind that, so you can get it, so it can get in your head. Okay, it's in Ezra 3 verse 5. Pretty much says the same thing. Nehemiah 10 verse 33. Matter of fact, let me read that. Nehemiah Let me come back. Nehemiah 10 verse 33. For the show bread and for the continual meat offering and for the continual burnt offering of the Sabbaths of the new moons, which is the Sabbath, And the word Sabbath means, let's look up the word Sabbath. Let's look up that word. It's good to look up your words. I already know what it means, but Shabbat. Okay, it's a Sabbath, Sabbath day of atonement, Sabbath year, week, produce in Sabbath year. Now you go into the root of Sabbath, which is Shabbath, which means to cease. That means to stop. Cease. Rest. To cease, rest from labor. And that's also a day that you give to the Most High, so you don't have sex with your wives. To cause to cease, put an end to exterminate, destroy, to cease, to desist from, to remove, to cause to fail, to keep or observe the Sabbath. And the Sabbath means to rest, to cease, stop working, stop. This is a day where you concentrate on the spiritual things of the Most High. Okay, I have to read this one. Isaiah 1 verse 13. Bring no more vain oblations. Incense is an abomination unto me. The new moons and the Sabbath, the calling of the assemblies, I cannot away with. It is iniquity, even the solemn meeting. So this is the Most High mad because they were, what Israel was doing, not all, but a lot of Israel, they were going through the motions, and they were thinking, you had an individual keeping the Sabbath, not working, but he was thinking on his neighbor's wife. And he said, well, I'm not going to do nothing to it today. I'm going to wait until the sun goes down, then I'm going to commit adultery. So the Lord said, away with your high holy days, because you're not keeping them, in a righteous manner. That's what that meant. So you have somebody that doesn't understand the scriptures, they'll bring this up and say, see, the Lord said we're not supposed to keep any of these high holy days and new moons and the Sabbath, because they don't understand the scriptures, especially you Christians. It also says the same thing in the 14th verse. Your new moons and your appointed feasts, my soul hateth. They are trouble unto me. I am weary to bear them. Because they were doing it in a hypocritical manner. And this is what the wicked scribes and Pharisees were doing. They were going through the motions. That's why the Lord cursed them out about their borders of their garments with their fringes and the phylacteries. The phylacteries, that's in Deuteronomy, either the chapter 4 or chapter 6, where, well, just look it up. Look up the word phylactery. Go to Matthew 23. And when you come across the word phylactery, look it up. Then you'll know what I'm talking about. Okay. Well, you got Ezekiel 45 verse 17. You got Ezekiel 46 verse 3. Then you got Hosea 2 verse 11, which says, I will also cause all her mirth to cease. So ultimately what happened? The Most High, when the Most High came against us and we were brought over here against our wills to serve slavery, we didn't keep the Sabbath because guess what? They separated families. So you were raised up not knowing you were an Israelite. So if you didn't know that you were an Israelite, how in the hell are you going to keep the Sabbath? You went by what Esau gave you, the slave master gave you. And a lot of Israelites, they followed other customs, and basically they forgot about being Israel and forgot about keeping the laws. So now Baruch said, loosely translated, I'm not going to go to it, it says, and now you coming back to the Lord, seek him 10 times more. So now that you know you're an Israelite, you're supposed to be serious about the Sabbath, about adultery. You shouldn't commit adultery. The new moons, which we're in a new moon now. I'm here in a room by myself doing a video. Anyway, let me just read this here. I'll read the Ezekiel 45, verse 17. And it shall be in the prince's part to get burnt offerings and meat offerings and drink offerings in the feast and in the new moons and in the Sabbath. There it goes. It mentions the new moons and the Sabbaths in the same sentence. Why? Because the new moon is a Sabbath. You do not cook or kindle fire. As a matter of fact, let me give you this one before I forget it. Exodus 35 verse 3. Let me start at the top. Exodus 35 verse 1, 2, and 3. And Moses gathered, the key point is in the 3rd verse, and Moses gathered all the congregation of the children of Israel. By the way, the word children is sons. The Hebrew word is Bunyam Yasha'ala, sons of Israel, together, and said unto them, these are the words which Yahweh hath commanded that ye should do them. 6 days shall work be done, but on the 7th day there shall be to you an holy day, a Sabbath of rest. Now, how do we know that the Sabbath day is based upon the new moon? Because the Most High wasn't dealing with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. He wasn't dealing with that. And when you were in the land of your captives in Egypt or Mizraim, one of the sons of Ham, they had a 30-day calendar and they had a 10-day week. So you had 3 weeks. You had 3 weeks in a month. So how in the hell you gonna keep the Sabbath on that time period? Based upon their time, their time. And when you went into the wilderness, you didn't have the only way you can measure time was by the sun going up, which was a day, the sun going up, the sun going down one day, sun going up, sun going down, day 2, sun going up, sun going down, day 3, and then you would see the moon. And then when the moon, you didn't see the moon, or you seen a light bit of light, a crescent, where you can almost, what if the moon would look like it was invisible, that was your new moon. So you knew to keep the Sabbath in the wilderness based upon the new moon. Because the Most High set the priests to keep the calendar based upon the new moon, the sun and the moon. It tells you that in Genesis 1 verse 14. Days, seasons, years, and signs. So it says the 2nd verse, Exodus 35 verse 2, 6 days shall work be done, but on the 7th day. So how do we know when the 7th day came in? You went by the new moon. The new moon came in, you counted 6 days you can work, and then on the 7th day is the Sabbath. Then the second cycle of the 7 days is Sabbath. There shall be to you an holy day, a Sabbath of rest to Yahweh. Whosoever doeth work therein shall be put to death. So if you broke the Sabbath, the penalty was you got put to death. It says, third verse, Exodus 35, verse 3, ye shall kindle no fire throughout your habitation upon the Sabbath day. And that also includes the new moon, because the new moon is the Sabbath. And with that, I'm going to say shalom.